Welcome to the Alumni Takeover. My name is Edwin Lee, and I'm an associate professor in the Department of Biology here at St. Joseph's University. Throughout this week, we have invited alumni to join us for conversations about their careers, to give you insight into different career paths and industries and get advice on how to enter and thrive in these fields. It is my extreme pleasure to introduce our guest today, Olivia Skwierawski, who is a senior scientific project manager at Discovery Life Sciences. Olivia holds both a bachelor's and master's degree in biology from St. Joseph's University. She did the master's through the 4+1 program that we have. And for her thesis, she conducted groundbreaking research on sleep deprivation and memory. Sounds like it was a long time ago, right, Olivia?
Yeah, feels
With
like
expertise
forever.
in neuroscience, immunohistochemistry, and project management, she's dedicated to advancing scientific discovery. Her passion for research and commitment to innovation make her a leader in her field. Please join me in welcoming Olivia Skwierawski. Hi again, Olivia. It's good to see you. It's been a few years since you last left St. Joe's, but I've seen on LinkedIn that you've been doing very well. Congrats.
Thank
So
you.
I have a list of questions that I'll be asking you, and after this, we'll finish with this set of questions. It's going to be followed by a Q&A session from our listeners and also some of my students that are in the classroom right now, even though you may not see them. But I have 18 students right here in the classroom. So let's get started. We're going to begin with a series of career-focused questions. Olivia, could you describe within your current role the core responsibilities and what a typical day or week looks like for you?
Yeah. I could just give a little background to what Discovery Life Sciences does first to make it a little bit more easy to follow. So basically, we work with different biopharma companies to help accelerate the discovery and development of new therapies. At the site that I work at a Newtown, PA site. And so we specialize in immunohistochemistry. So we'll have different projects with all of these different biopharmaceutical companies where we will do assay development, assay validation, retrospective clinical sample testing. So testing patient samples from those who are already enrolled in a clinical trial that's ongoing, or also we will do prospective clinical sample testing. So we'll receive a patient sample, test it for the presence of a specific biomarker, and have that evaluated by our pathologists, and then deem if that patient would be suitable to enter into a specific clinical trial. So that's the bulk of what I do. So for, I would say, the core responsibilities, at any given time, I'm managing about 15 different projects, I would say. Not all of them are active at the same time, and they're all usually at different stages. So I'll have a couple assay development projects, a couple that are we're doing validation work. Maybe we'll be doing exploratory testing. So we have a validated assay, but we're just kind of getting more data on how it performs in different cancer indications. And then again, like I said, I also will have some studies that are retrospective or prospective clinical sample testing. So with that, I would say a normal day would probably be like spending some time in the lab in the morning, because I feel, well, in my role, I feel really lucky I get to still spend time in the lab and do, the cool science, do the immunohistochemistry runs. And we have a lot of really cool automated staining platforms that we use. So I'll get to go into the lab and do some of that work. And then I also, am client facing as well. So I get to speak to the clients. I plan out the whole study with them. Kind of go over the schedule and give them updates on where the study's at. And I also help manage the tissues that we receive from them. So coordinating with the different lab associates that we have to make sure we're logging all the tissues we receive into our system, making sure that the runs get done, and that any necessary scoring by the pathologist gets done, and then getting the data delivered to the client, in a timely manner, and making sure that everything along the way is being checked. We're getting quality checks along the way. So in my role, we kind of wear a lot of hats where we're in the lab, we're working with the client, and then managing the whole study from start to finish and getting all the deliverables on time.
On time is always put a lot of stress, I bet. But
Yeah,
it sounds
yeah.
like
Not always on time. We try our best.
right. Yeah. So it sounds like your typical day or week, you're very active. It's very busy. My next question is it's one that I particularly like because especially here in the classroom, we have students that some of them already know what they want to do. Some of them may still be wondering about what they want to do. So, how did you decide to pursue this career? Can you guide us through the process of what went on until you told yourself, "Oh, I know this is what I want to do"?
Yeah, so for me, it was kind of difficult. I started off as most bio majors do, interested in joining the health field. So I was thinking about going to PA school or med school, and so I kind of started doing all the prereqs for that. And then it wasn't until I joined Dr. Tudor's lab and started doing research that I realized, okay, this is really cool. I've never done this before. I'm really interested in this. And at the same time, I was also volunteering in hospitals and realized maybe I'm not suited for like joining the health field because as much as I like love science and wanted to help others, I didn't love being in that environment. And I really felt like I was thriving doing research. And so I was kind of torn. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do anymore, but I really liked research. And then I heard about the 4+1 program. And so I joined that and got to really work on my skills as a researcher. And after that, I thought I was going to apply for positions working in different academic research labs. And I saw this job posting and I applied to it because I fit the qualifications in terms of like, schooling and, being organized, working in a lab, that sort of thing. But I thought, I don't have enough experience. I don't think that I would get this position, but I applied anyway. And then I ended up being offered the position. And I looked more into, what it entailed. And I thought, this would be amazing. And this would help get me into the field of biotechnology, which I previously wasn't, kind of, I didn't know that much about it. So that's kind of how I found this job is, it didn't start off right away, me knowing I wanted to do this. And now that I'm in this field, I love it and I couldn't imagine doing something else.
Yeah, thank you. So, how long have you been at Life Science Discovery? 3 years, 2 years?
Almost 3 years. So I started in,
Almost 3 years.
yeah.
Okay. So I asked because I remember when I first joined St. Joe's in my first few years as faculty, there were a lot of surprises, things that I wasn't prepared that was also part of my job. So I can imagine then that it was the same for you. So for you, what has surprised you the most about your current job?
So I'd say what surprised me the most is I kind of touched upon this earlier, kind of how many hats we wear as project managers because we're doing stuff in the lab and then also all of like the office side of things, like speaking with the client and just managing these tissues throughout the life cycle of the project. So just kind of basically all these areas that I get to work in on a daily basis. That really surprised me. And, it keeps it really exciting and fun and every day is pretty different. And then I would say the other thing that surprised me is how much like I get to work with a lot of different companies. So I've gotten to learn a lot more about the space of, biotech and in particular, cancer research and these different clinical trials that are ongoing. So that kind of surprised me of how many different companies I would be working with and then, how much I get to learn from these companies and the projects I have with them.
Okay, I see. So then you also mentioned that, if I heard it correctly, Life Science Discovery was the first job immediately after you finished, or did you have a previous job, or did you do an internship before that?
So yeah, this is my first job. Before that, I was just doing research in Dr. Tutor's lab, so I did summer scholars. So I don't know if that would count as an internship or not.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I did the summer scholars, and then I did that extra year for the 4+1 program, and then I found this job. So I was between this and the academic
Okay.
research, but ultimately chose.
So, so then the summer scholars program, in addition to the experience that you got from your master's degree, they obviously gave you enough the necessary skills for the job that you have now. So that's always good to hear.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Um, yeah. So next question, talk about a little bit about more the industry or the organization that you're part of. What are ways that the industry that you're part of demonstrate a commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Yeah, so I think biotech as a whole has done really well with, having this commitment for to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I know most companies have a strong commitment to that, and it's like a core value of a lot of these companies, which I'm really proud to kind of work in a field where that's the case. And I know like it's continuing to grow. Like for instance, I was reading that the percentage of women working in biotech is now 49%, and it's increased every year. So that's like amazing being a woman in STEM. It's really great to see that. Um, so yeah, I think there's still obviously a lot of room for improvement. I know with upper management roles and the C-suite and whatnot, that is lacking that representation and diversity. So obviously we have a lot more work to do in that regard. But I think having all these big, giant pharmaceutical companies and different biotechs having this core value and supporting this is just, a really great thing to be proud of. And I know my company in particular has fostered this really inclusive environment where everyone feels comfortable and we all know that our voices are being heard if we have something to say. So that to me is just like amazing. And like I said, like I'm just very proud and happy to be in this sort of environment and in this field.
Good. All right. Going back to the process of you getting your current position, I think you did mention that for life science discovery, you saw an ad, and then you decided to apply, and you said that you felt that you had the qualifications, or were you worried that you didn't? Um, but what I'm thinking about is what advice do you have for students who are or will be in a similar position that you were a few years ago looking for a job? Any advice on how to land a job? Any advice on interviews? What to do, what not to do? Advice on networking, how to do it? What advice do you have for these students?
Yeah, so um, how I found this job was through LinkedIn. So I would say definitely utilizing LinkedIn. I know when I took the biotech course with you, you made everyone make LinkedIn's, and we all like had to connect with people, and that was honestly such a great asset for me, and that's how I found this job. So definitely networking and connecting with people, and putting yourself out there and not being like shy to kind of message someone and ask them for, if they have any advice or if they know anyone where they're have any open positions at their company. Um, so yeah, definitely utilizing LinkedIn and networking, and maybe going to job fairs and just really connecting with other people. And that I think would help give you a good sense too of the different roles that are out there. Because before I joined, um, my company, I didn't know all the roles that there were in these, biotech and pharma companies. So I think it's really great to kind of like learn everything that's out there. And in terms of interviewing tips and whatnot, I'd say definitely make sure your resume is curated really well and you have good specifics of like your skill set, things to back up your skill set, and make sure you know your resume inside and out. So when you are in an interview, you're not like shocked if they ask you a question about it and you don't remember you even had that on your resume. So knowing your resume inside and out, um, curating cover letters to a specific role. I know that can be really important, and that can be the deciding factor between you and another applicant, and not just putting into ChatGPT to give you a cover letter. Definitely putting in the time to um, personalize it for the specific role, um, and highlighting your specific skill set. And um, I would also say don't be afraid to apply to roles where, again, you don't think you are 100% a fit for, because, like I said, I had all the qualifications for this job, but I thought I don't have the experience. They're not going to hire me right out of college. But I was wrong. If you show you have the ability to learn and to grow and you're excited and you have skills that could transfer to what the job is, then that's the main thing that I think would help land you a job. And yeah, just be prepared for the interviews. Go in being confident, but also do your due diligence on researching the company as well, and making sure your values align with the company's values. And then just show the interviewer too that you are very interested in this role. Don't just apply to something that you're not interested at all. I think that would come across in an interview if you aren't actually interested in the company or the role itself. So just definitely putting in the time to evaluate this role and kind of show the interviewer, if you are genuinely excited about it. And yeah, just prepare and be confident and know, your strengths. Also, know your weaknesses and be able to elaborate on why you think you could overcome on those, and how you'd be a valuable asset.
Yeah, that's a lot of advice. I hope my students here and everybody listening are taking notes. You follow up on something that you mentioned. You talked about curating resumes and cover letters. In your specific case, do you use any resources that were helpful for you, or help from acquaintances or others to make sure to help you in writing the resume and your cover letters?
Yeah, so I know, I think when I was at St. Joe's, I don't know what resource it was called, but I used one of the resources that helped me, fix my resume and make it look professional. And because I had no idea really how to draft a resume. So I know I used some resources when I was at St. Joe's. Um, and yeah, definitely use, the people that in other similar positions, or just people who are established in their careers. I send my resume to my sister and have her help me because she works in um, HR. And so just if you can have other people look at it and really kind of perfect it. And also it's good to change it for the role you're applying for as well. So just, not just sending one mass resume out everywhere, taking the time to kind of change things or move things around based on the role that you are applying for, I think would make a big difference sometimes.
Good. Okay. Thank you. So staying on the topic of advice, the next question is about what is something that you wish someone told you when you were in school?
Um, so yeah, I would say I wish when I was in school, someone told me to start looking at the different career options early on. I was just I started out thinking I just want to do med school or just be in the health field, and I didn't look into anything else. And so I think that if I started earlier, seeing what was out there, that would have really helped me to prepare better and to just kind of, be more knowledgeable in the other fields. Like like I said, I didn't know that much about the biotech field before I started. So I think it would have helped a lot to have a better understanding of that all. So definitely just starting early and um, get more experience too, like do more internships, and put yourself out of your comfort zone to try different, maybe an internship that you aren't exactly sure about, because then it would show you, maybe you are interested in this thing that you didn't think you were, or you could rule out like, no, I'm not interested in this sort of role or field. So I know I'm not going to pursue that further. So yeah, I think just starting early and trying different things or different internships maybe that, you wouldn't necessarily um, think you'd want to do right away.
Mhm. Right. It's good. All right. So then, what are two, three experiences that you think that students should engage while in college that would help them prepare them for entering the field that you're working on right now upon graduation?
So I'd say the biggest one for entering biotech would be getting, lab research experience in. Um, I know that's kind of like the minimum requirement for like most jobs in biotech, just having that background in research, for at least in like the type of role that I do. So definitely getting research experience in, and definitely I would say networking and going to job fairs and, like I said, going on LinkedIn and connecting with people. So you just learn more about the field and the different roles that are in the field.
Okay. So in addition to those experiences, what about courses, specific courses that you think that you feel that you took at St. Joe's? There could be STEM, non-STEM courses that have helped you prepare for the job market and or the current position that you have.
So I would say like the biggest class that helped is biotech, the course that I took with
Oh,
you. Yeah, that
disclaimer, I did not pay her to say this.
it did not. That really did help me because you taught us the background of like the widely used assays in biotech. So, we learned Western blotting, PCRs, flow cytometry. I believe we even touched on immunohistochemistry and all of those things. And those are so prevalent in at least like the work that I do and in these big biopharmaceutical companies. So I think just learning and like, having the basis of all of these different assays and things that are very frequently used in the field. I think that was great because right now I specialize in immunohistochemistry, but I could tell you what any one of those other um, different assays are and why they're important for the field. So it just gives me a better understanding of it all. And, and the whole networking portion of the class as well. Like I said before, that was really important. And then I would say the other course, this is again a bio course that I think really prepared me, which I was not expecting it to. I took histopathology with Dr. Nelson, and I didn't really think it was going to help me. I just thought it was interesting, and for my job, it has helped me tremendously because I look at tissues under a microscope all day. And so now, because I took histopathology, I actually can look at a tissue under a scope and be like, oh, that's liver, and I could tell these are the tumor cells in this liver sample. So that kind of helped me feel more confident in my role, because I know a lot of people who join my company or at my site, they don't have that specific background. So I felt like it just kind of gave me a leg up and, helped me feel a lot more confident in my knowledge.
That's good to hear. I'll make sure that Dr. Nelson knows this. I'm sure that he'll be happy to hear that the course helped you, and especially that it also helping pre-med students. So
Mhm.
that's good to know.
Yeah.
So then, what advice would you give to students as they think about the job market?
Um, I would say my biggest advice would be to like be patient. Because sometimes I know right now it's kind of the job market's pretty volatile, and for biotech the last couple of years it hasn't been great. I have a lot of folks that I know who are currently job searching, and it's kind of been taking them a while to find that right fit for them. So I think that can get really frustrating, and you could kind of feel really disappointed in yourself. Like, why is it taking so long to find a job for me, or that that would be a good fit. But definitely just be patient. Like my brother-in-law he spent almost a year. He was laid off. He spent almost a full year looking for a job that was a right fit for him, because he wasn't just gonna take anything. 'Cause when you spend 40 hours a week at a job, you want to really want to be there and be passionate about what you're doing. And it took almost a year, but now he's at this dream job, working at Amazon doing marketing, which is totally unrelated. But he was just patient, stuck it out, and just worked on his skill set for applying, and just worked on his resume. So just don't get so down if it's taking longer than you expected to find the right fit for a career.
Okay, all right. So we're nearing our session of questions in here before we get into the Q&A with the audience. So one or two last questions in here. How does your Jesuit education impact how you work and or the career decisions you've made to date?
So I think my Jesuit education had a profound impact on me in choosing a career because I wanted to do something that had a net positive impact on society. I wanted whatever work that I did to just have a positive impact. And so that's kind of why I was initially interested in health, but I feel being in biotech, I still have a significant impact, positively on the field of science and in advancing these different therapies that will help, help with cancer patients and help, minimize the or increase the survivability of patients with, different types of cancer. So I feel like it really just pushed me to want to, have a job that's fulfilling and makes me happy to be there and know that I'm putting good work out there and, just helping advance the field and make a positive impact.
Good. Okay. So then, just to close out this session in here, I'm actually going to go off script. So the question that I have, even though you mentioned it already, and this is sort of like a little ad for biotech field, you mentioned it already a little bit in some of your answers, but if you were to do like a 30 seconds ad to why somebody should consider a career in this field, what is it that excites you about this? Why should they consider even contemplating a career in biotech?
Okay. So I would say if you're contemplating a career in biotech, if you would be a good fit if you are passionate about science, you like to learn, and like I was previously mentioning, you want to have a positive impact on the field as a whole, and also just society as a whole, being able to every day know the work that you're doing is helping or will help a patient eventually and improve patient outcomes. Then that would be the job for you if you want to include or have both science and helping others kind of come together. I think that would be the biggest reason.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Olivia. So now we're going to move on to the Q&A portion of this session. Students here in the classroom with your laptop or anybody else who may be listening remotely, feel free to enter your questions in the Q&A session. We already have quite a few in here, Olivia. Hopefully we can get through all of these. First one from one of the students here in the classroom. He asks, does your job require the use of AI or is it involved in any way?
So right now it does not, but I know so we work with a pathologist to score tissues, and I know there's like a push now in biotech to start using, AI systems to kind of work with doing AI pathology in a way, kind of having an AI system look at tissues and be able to kind of score them. But this is kind of something that's being explored right now, and it's not, an established thing right now in our field. So yeah, not really in my role directly do I use AI.
Okay, thank you. The next question from another student in my class, Maria says, hello, is your project management role your first role at the company, or do you have an entry-level position first and then you moved up to the project management?
So I actually started off as a project manager. I think having my master's degree is what allowed me to be able to start out in a role like that. So, very grateful for the 4+1 program, so that I could have that degree. And I started out as a project manager, and then last year I was promoted to senior project manager.
Good. So next, I'm gonna move down here to Anna's question. Says, were you involved in any other activities during your time at SAU that helped prepare you for the job market, or networking help or network or that help you for the job market, or networking that help you develop skills?
Um,
Were you a member of any clubs, societies,
yeah, so
extracurricular activities?
I was in Sigma Zeta, Sigma Xi, AED, the Pre-Health Society, and I was also in Phi Sigma Sigma. So I think those are all good to join for networking purposes. I know my time was affected by COVID, so there wasn't a lot of when I was in all of them, there wasn't a lot of things I could go to gain more skills, but definitely helped with networking. And I think Sigma Xi was really great with being able to better communicate my research because I did a presentation on my research in the lab there. So yeah, things like that just really help networking.
Okay, thank you. All right, so the next question in here, actually, I do like this question a lot. You mentioned about a lot of positive things from your current job, but I'm sure it hasn't always been great. Zion says, hi, Olivia. My name is Zion Kendrick, and I'm a senior biology major looking to join the biotech industry. My question is, what do you think was the most challenging part of your journey?
The most challenging part was the first couple months. There was a bit of a learning curve for me to kind of be able to manage all of these different projects that are in different stages and be able to keep up with each client and the needs of each client. It took me a while to learn that, to kind of be like, I know the client's going to ask for this, so I'm going to have it prepared already. And also just my organization skills. I felt like I thought I was organized until I started there and realized with this number of studies and everything, all of my deliverables I have to get out, my organization skills were not up to par. So that did take me some time to learn a good system for me that works, and that is like feasible, to be able to get everything done well. So yeah, definitely organization was a big one for me.
So in addition to organizational skills, were there any other, let's say, more technical skills or scientific knowledge that you had to teach yourself for your job, or you relying mostly basically on things that you've learned from your studies here at St. Joe's?
So I did rely on a lot of what I learned at St. Joe's because, like I said, histopathology helped me a lot in my specific job. And I had learned about immunohistochemistry, and I had done it once or twice in the research lab that I was in. But I did definitely have to put a lot of effort into learning more about the biotech space and about clinical trials and how drug development works. So that was a bit of a learning curve, kind of being thrown into that and learning because there's a lot of guidelines for how this work gets done. So just kind of learning that. But that's more stuff you learn, I think, when you get into it, like the specific guidelines that are out there for the work that is being done.
Okay, good. So you did mention that you started here at St. Joe's as a pre-med, or thinking about a health-related profession. We have a question here from Maddie. Do you ever feel pressure as a biology major to be pre-med and attend medical school, since that is what the majority of people in this major focus on?
Yeah, so I started out as like pre-PA. I think mostly because I didn't know what was out there and I really loved science. So I guess in a way I did feel pressured because I thought, okay, I want to major in biology. What kind of career? I guess health, because that's what everyone does. So yeah, I would say in a way was kind of felt pressured to do that. But then once I learned like, oh, scientific research is really cool, and started looking into that space, I then saw what was out there and realized, okay, there's other opportunities besides the healthcare sector that, I think I'm better suited for.
Okay, sort of related to this question, you might have answered this. If you could repeat this, student here, Estherlyn, asks, what about the health field made you realize it was not what you wanted to do?
I would just say I really wanted to help people, and I love, all the science and learning about like health and the body. But for me, it was just being in a hospital setting. I'm kind of a germaphobe in that sense. So I was like, this is probably not the job for me if I'm getting kind of like freaked out being here, and I don't think I could give like blood freaks me out. So I don't know why I thought, I would be great in the healthcare setting. But then I quickly realized from volunteering in hospitals that this is probably not where I want to spend all of my time.
Okay. We also have a couple of questions here about uh, the job search process. Julian asks, what's your advice for students looking to build meaningful professional relationships in science-based roles? Do you recommend any different types of connections besides using LinkedIn?
Hmm. That's a good question. I'm not really sure because I know like LinkedIn is the main one. I would say if you like started a career, it's definitely great to really connect with your coworkers and really kind of stay in touch with them and build meaningful relationships with them. Because a lot of times in biotech, people will go to different companies, and so it's great to kind of have connections at other companies as well, um, and maintain those relationships. Um, but in terms of like a platform like LinkedIn, I'm not sure what would be a better one besides just, maintaining your relationships with, your coworkers or, different or, your peers at St. Joe's, because everyone's going to go off into different companies or sectors. So it's great to have those connections in all those different places.
Okay, all right. So next question in here from iPad. I don't have the name of this person in here. I'll just say iPad in here. Going along with how do you apply for your current job and how you were not expecting to get an offer even though you technically had the correct qualifications. What advice do you have for deciding which jobs and or how many jobs to apply to when first entering the workforce and have little experience?
So I would apply to as many as there are that you are genuinely interested in. Because like this role, I was very interested in it, but I wasn't confident in myself that I would, kind of be picked. Um, but I was still very interested in it. So just I wouldn't apply just for everything you see because it involves bio. Like if you're not actually interested in doing that thing, I wouldn't waste your time with that. So really just apply to anything you find that you would be interested in and would genuinely enjoy. Um, and yeah, I wouldn't say there's like a limit. And yeah, just don't be afraid to apply to something if you don't meet every single qualification either, because you might be surprised. Because a lot of times they're just looking for transferable skills. So yeah.
Yeah. So then, question here about interviewing. Some of the students will be starting soon the process of interview for internships and jobs. And I know that can be a little bit scary. Arizona here is asking or saying, thank you for taking the time to discuss your career regarding interviewing. What are some questions you would ask at the end of an interview to further show your interest in the position? And what were some challenges you may have faced while preparing for interviews or while interviewing?
So I would say, yeah, definitely ask questions at the end of an interview when the interviewer asks you if you have anything. Always ask a question. Um, I usually would like to ask about the company's culture. I think that's really important. If you spend so much time at a job, you want to know that it has a good environment there and a good supportive like culture. And just also, I would like to ask about opportunities for career growth, and just kind of what opportunities that place would have for you. So I would say those are two big ones. And then challenges for interviewing that I had, I would say um, maybe just a lack of confidence. So just I would, even if you're not confident, just go in there pretending like you are the perfect fit for this role, and just show them by all of your skill, like by talking about all of your skill sets, how you would be a perfect fit, even if you're not feeling super confident yourself. Just fake the confidence, and I think that would go a long way.
Okay, thank you. The next question in here related about job roles and positions. Tim asks, now that you know more of the roles that are available in the biotechnology field, are there any positions you would want to apply for in the future?
Now that I know more, yes, I I am kind of interested in like the whole quality side of things. So I think that's something I would maybe look for in the future. There's a lot of roles for quality assurance. That's a huge thing in these like um, different drug development is making sure that the work is being checked constantly. So I'm really interested in the whole quality side. But I do really um, am happy with my role of being able to manage projects as well. So I'm not sure I would want to kind of leave that for a while. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with like the role that I'm at now, but definitely interested in quality.
Let's see. So then about, oh, this is a good question in here from Annie. She's asking, how is the work-life balance within the biotech field? That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say it definitely that's also a learning curve. I know when I first started, when things would get really busy, sometimes I would spend a lot of extra time doing work, which I think it's necessary at times for some projects. Say you need to put in extra time in, but I think you reach a certain point where you know you get better at that balance where you go to work, you put in 110% effort when you're at work, and then being able to then leave work and shut that off and just enjoy your life. And I think that sets you up for success then, to be put better work out there when you give yourself that necessary break and not just think about it the whole time and bring your work home with you, because then I think sometimes you end up just getting too you can get burnt out easily from that. So I think it's definitely pivotal to and like establish that balance, but it is hard at first. Like I said, when you're first starting out, you kind of want to prove yourself and put extra work in, I think, which is great, but at the end of the day, you do need to find that balance eventually.
Thank you. Next question in here, another one that I like very much. Sydney asks, were there any specific challenges that you face as a new team member fresh out of your master's? Did you feel lost, thrown into it, or was there somebody there that was able to guide you and assimilate you, I guess, in other words, to mentor you and support you?
So yeah, I did definitely feel kind of a little bit of that imposter syndrome. I just kind of felt like, okay, I this is like a lot. I don't know if I could do all this. But it was really great having one of my coworkers, Jamie Reel. She attended St. Joe's and was in the same research lab as me. So having her there, kind of in my corner, was great because I knew there was someone there I could talk to and kind of get help for certain things. And when I started, I joined a team and there was another PM starting with me. And so we were starting with the same position, but she had a lot more experience than me and had worked in biotech before. So it was great to kind of start with her. So we were both learning the ropes of this new company together. But then I also had her to kind of ask and get advice from, since she's had more experience than me as well.
Thank you. So we're approaching the last 5 minutes of the session. I think we're going to be able to cover, I think, the rest in here. Question in here from Will. Do you find it hard balancing client work with lab work?
Yes, I think that was a struggle in the beginning as well. Um, at a certain point for my role, you kind of have to learn how to delegate work effectively. So There's different lab associates on our team, so being able to delegate the work to them when I need to, if I have, clients, I need to get certain things done, like reports or status updates that, I can't spend that much time in the lab. So being able to effectively delegate work, I think is a good skill set for this kind of role.
Okay, thank you. We have a second question from Arizona. She asks, in your opinion, what advice would you give someone who is applying for a position with no specific experience relating to it?
I would just really try and show how the experience that you do have would transfer and how you have the ability to learn, and learn quickly and adapt. Just really, I would harp on that you can adapt and you do have skills, transferable skills, essentially, even if you don't have these specific skills that, a job is mentioning.
Yeah. All right, to finish off, I'm going to combine the last two questions that I have. They're sort of related, and you have commented on these, I guess, topics about what is the best part of doing your job. And another person asked, James asked, Discovery Life Sciences, what do you think are the best parts and worst or toughest parts of the job? So let's start focusing with the worst or toughest, and let's finish with, again, what you like the best out of the current job that you have?
The toughest, I would say, is sometimes if you're given a project that you don't love, or you're trying to develop an assay and you're encountering a lot of roadblocks with developing the assay. I think that can be very discouraging at times. So I'd say that's the toughest part for me, is kind of trying to overcome that. And then for the best part, again, I would say knowing that the work I'm doing is having a positive impact on the field. So the way that we like to look at it at my company is, every slide that we get, every tissue we get, that is a patient, and we want to put quality data out there, so that way at the end of the day, patient outcomes will hopefully be improved. So, it's just kind of cool to look at it that way. Every side we're testing, this is a patient. We want to put out the best data and hopefully improve outcomes. So I would say that's the best part.
I like that answer very much because when asking, especially for the pre-health students, something that they always say that they like to do is work with the patients. And you saying that even the work that you do, you feel that you are doing something for them too. So that's good to hear.
Definitely.
Okay, so just to finish up then, please join me in thanking Olivia for joining us today and providing such a great insight into their career. I'm really surprised at how many questions my students had. I did not know what to expect. Olivia, we're grateful for your time and hope to see you back here in Hawk Hill. And as a reminder to the audience in here, we have alumni takeover sessions going throughout the whole week. Make sure to check your email for update and schedules. And thank you, everybody, and have a great day. Thank you, Olivia.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed that.
Okay, bye.